so many new pieces to this IU football team.
To me, that's going to set the tone on how you get ready for games on Saturday in the fall.
I would put that Indiana room up against anybody else in the conference, and that's something that we typically don't even come close to saying.
If you want to get total sickos committee about it, there's a position battle at long snapper too.
This is the Hoosier Huddle Podcast, part of the College Huddle Podcast Network.
Good evening and happy game day eve. We're back again on a Friday night because of basketball. But come on in, put your comments and questions in the comments section. So yeah, we're going to talk football. We've got senior day coming up tomorrow against Wisconsin. We could talk keys to the game, college football playoff. If we could get to it, we'll do these for basketball too. We're just our schedule's jam-packed right now. We got to find a day that works for people. So yeah, send in your questions. Joshua says, I always loved Hoosier basketball, but yeah, I like football, and now I love Indiana football even more. So it's a great time to be an IU fan. You got volleyball tonight taking on Oregon. They're nationally ranked. Looking at the postseason, men's soccer is awaiting their selection on Monday evening to see where they start their quest for the 9th star. And then, basketball has been really fun to watch. The women's team is undefeated as well. So send it in. Indiana, game information tomorrow. Kickoff is at noon. Senior day ceremonies start at 11:30 a.m. I know Don Fisher has urged people to get there early and stay the entire game because this team deserves this group of seniors deserves to have their hard work rewarded, and it would be cool after a win to have a sold out stadium, basically give them a standing ovation heading off the field. So yeah, college football is more fun. But yeah, we'll see. It's a lot at stake. I know it's Indiana's a 28.5-point favorite tomorrow, and Wisconsin's coming off a ranked win against Washington in an ugly sleet, rain, snow, whatever you want to call it, storm up in Madison last week. They're playing their 4th-string quarterback. They have 2 really, really good true freshmen linebackers. Their defense is pretty good as well. So IU will have their workout cut out for them, but this is a game IU should win handily. They have too much offensive talent. We'll see what the injury situation is tomorrow, 2 hours before kickoff. Elijah Surratt missed the Penn State game. Still listed kind of day-to-day on Monday by Kirk Cignetti. We'll see if he plays. I think they need him, but you also need a healthy Surratt going into the postseason. So we'll see there. And then, of course, no new injuries going into the bye week would help. And then you got Purdue, and I know it's early, but the 2-week weather forecast looks absolutely awful for that Friday night. So we'll see. Hopefully it changes. If, you play the games on paper, I use 12-0 heading. They win out, they head to the Big Ten title game. So welcome to the show. Send in your questions. Hopefully we got our regulars here too, but I see some new people. And we'll talk keys to the game. We'll get the college football playoff and how many Big Ten teams, some key matchups this week in the SEC as well. Is there a chance that the ACC does not get a team in? And all that stuff. Got a question from More Money Enterprises. How many players on the defense should make all conference? I think they do 3 all-conference teams. Are we talking first team or, all teams an honorable mention. I would think, you're looking at D'Angelo Pons, Isaiah Jones, Lou Moore, Aiden Fisher should be in there, even though he missed almost 2 games with an injury. Tyreek Tucker should be an all Big Ten guy. I don't know if he'll be first team all Big Ten, but he should be an all Big Ten guy. If Kellen Wyatt stayed healthy, he should be an all Big Ten guy. Stephen Daly's making a case for himself as an all Big Ten guy. I said Lou Moore, Amari Farrell should be the entire defense is Big Ten guy, all Big Ten guys. Kamara maybe not have the numbers. He'll probably get left off. Same with, guys like Hosea Wheeler, maybe our coach's picks on a all Big Ten team. But this defense has a lot of guys who should take home a lot of awards individually after this season, even though they haven't had the weekly awards that usually go out to a lot of people because they put up numbers. Like Wisconsin's linebackers took home the freshman player of the week and the defensive player of the week because they combined for 30 tackles. Indiana just doesn't get that many plays on the field to get 30 tackles between two guys. I know Elijah Hardy is another guy who could be all Big Ten. I had 12 tackles last week. There's so much talent on this defense that goes largely unrecognized outside of the teams IU plays, and then outside of Bloomington, of course. So if I had to set an over-under on first team guys, Pons, Isaiah Jones, I'd set it at like 3.5. 2.5 or 3.5. I just don't know. I think Aiden Fisher's injury kind of hurts him. So, who's more likely to lose a game? Ohio State, Texas A&M, or Alabama down the stretch? Let's pull out the schedule machine. Believe Ohio State has a bye week this week. So let's see. This week, Alabama plays Oklahoma at home. Ohio State has UCLA at home. They should win that. And then what was the other one? Was Texas A&M. Texas A&M hosts South Carolina. Texas A&M also plays Texas at the end of the year. And Ohio State has Michigan up at Michigan. And it's a mental block for Ohio State. I think all three of them could lose games. If I had to pick one who's the most likely, it's probably Texas A&M. With their game against Texas, they also have South Carolina this week, who could be a dangerous opponent. Texas A&M finishes the season versus South Carolina, the Samford game before Texas, at Texas. They bring back that rivalry, which is nice to see. And then you have, Alabama has Auburn to end the season. And then they have Eastern Illinois, the powerhouse Eastern Illinois there. So any one of those three can lose games, but if I had to pick one with the greatest chance, it's Texas A&M at Texas, followed by Ohio State at Michigan, and then Alabama has to go to Auburn at the end of the year. So they all play their most hated rivals at the end of the year on the road. So we'll see. I do think one of the SEC teams loses, though, if not both. And I think Georgia might have a chance at losing this week. Florida could be Ole Miss. There's a lot of chaos that could happen in the SEC, even though their pundits think that they're going to get 7 teams in the 12-team playoff. So, but there's a lot. Notre Dame could go down this week. They also have some tricky games done. They have to go out west to Stanford. They get Syracuse at home, but they play Pitt this week. Miami could go down again. There's just NC State could put up points. They could go down this week. They have to go to Pitt at the end of the year. And we know how Miami does in the cold weather. It's going to be a fun playoff race. So Indiana's sitting, if you get through this one, you sit through the bye week and enjoy next week too. And then, you take care of business against Purdue and you're sitting home that final Saturday watching Michigan, Ohio State, and the Iron Bowl in Texas A&M, Texas, thinking, okay, do we have a shot to be in that number one spot, or how good our chances are for a bye to get there? And I do think IU's chances, there's more of a chance to get a bye than there is to get that first round playoff home game, even if you lose the Big Ten title game. I just don't see them. I don't see them punishing the loser of the conference championship games all that much. It's almost to the point where if you're going to punish people, then why bother playing? Like, teams are going to be like, I don't really want to play this. And it's such a money grab for the conferences, but it is a kind of an unnecessary in most years. Like this year, last year, it's all kind of unnecessary for the Big Ten for the playoff. Nobody stole a bid that way. Clemson kind of stole a bid, but they didn't punish SMU. They still made the playoff. So there's going to be a lot of jockeying for position in seeding. It's not going to be like the NCAA tournament where, the number one seed goes into the tournament and all of a sudden loses whatever in the third round of their conference tournament in a mid-major conference and they're out. So I think, the conferences want to keep that around because it lines the old pockets. But it is, is it an added advantage to go into that game and give 100% and risk injury? Or do you want that week off and, play that home game? So we'll see. Keep the questions coming. That's good question, David. And then we'll dive into the Wisconsin game here shortly. So let's give me another couple minutes to get questions in. We'll get some more people in on the chat as well. Alex Compton should join us here around 9:00, and we're ready to roll. We got a good one tonight with Louisville and Clemson. Louisville just scored a touchdown to take the lead. So the ACC is really interesting as well. And then you have Oregon, Minnesota tonight with the Ducks are hanging on to their playoff lives as that third Big Ten team. There could be 4 Big Ten teams in the playoff hunt too, maybe even 5 if things shake out correctly for the conference and things like that. But it's got a long way to go. IU by 1 million tomorrow. Let's get into tomorrow's game. I don't know if so Michigan State did a really good job of limiting possessions. That they limited IU to 3 possessions in the first half. Now IU scored 3 touchdowns to score 21 points. But if you're only, I said 41-0 IU on our podcast, kind of, I don't want to say regretting it, but rethinking it. I don't know if there's going to be enough possessions to score 41 points. It's Wisconsin's defense is good. They're going to take the blueprint that Michigan State had in the first half and try and hold the ball. Now their offense is terrible. So they don't have the offensive talent that Michigan State has. They can't go on these long drives and eat up time as long as IU puts them in adverse situations. They don't have the NFL talent like Penn State. They do have a very good defense, and Indiana's banged up along that offensive line, which kind of scares you a little bit. But the offense with a true freshman quarterback, They have a nice receiver in Vinny Anthony, but they don't have those big tight ends that they used to have. Their running game's not as good as it used to be. Their offensive line is not what it was back in the day when they were scoring 83 points against IU. But it could be a game where possessions are limited. And so I'll go 41-0. The IU just plays better at home like everybody else. The crowd will be juiced up to send these seniors off. And it's, you hope it's your final home game because you want that bye into the quarterfinals for the playoff. But it's we'll call it what it is, the last regular season home game. And they'll be fired up, ready to go. But I again, with how banged up IU is, maybe they take their foot off the gas late in the game. And then 2, I do think Wisconsin will try to limit possessions. And they're very good on special teams. They have a great punter, and they'll make IU drive the field. But they should cover the 28.5 point spread. Saw it opened at 30.5. I think it went down to 28.5. Injury-wise, no Drew Evans. Elijah Surratt's a maybe, so he'll be on the questionable list. Again, I get Sig's a tough guy, old school coach, and he thinks if you could walk, you could play. But there are bigger fish to fry than now. Luckily, I'll be warm tomorrow. But running Surratt out, like if it was against Purdue and it's 45 degrees and sleeting, and your hamstrings kind of 70%, that's not a risk I'd be willing to take because you could beat Purdue without Elijah Surratt. You could beat Wisconsin without Elijah Surratt. Now, it'd be easier with him. But, man, Charlie Becker stepped up last week. He should be there. And this should be an empty the bench game for IU the next 2 games. And then you have that bye week in between to get healthy as well. So they need to get into the playoff and the postseason healthy, get Drew Evans back, get Zem Mikulski back for some depth. It looked like Khalil Benson was struggling with that ankle injury against Penn State that kind of hobbled his mobility. And see, is Wisconsin's D better against the run or the pass? Haven't seen much of them this year. They're better against the run. They're only now – their last 2 games against Oregon and Washington, they gave up 21 points to Oregon. They gave up 10 points to Washington. Were both terrible weather games. And TV did not do the Oregon game justice in the weather there. It was awful. So that goes into account. But they gave up 37 points to Iowa, 34 points to Ohio State, 38 points to Alabama. But Wisconsin's better against the run than they are against the pass. But they do have guys who could get to the quarterback on the defensive line, and those 2 freshman linebackers are really good. So their defense is solid, but IU should be able to throw the ball, especially since it should be good weather. Might be a little windy, but it should be good weather tomorrow. And then you could use the pass to open up the run there, which is what they've done all season. So to me, my matchup to watch was the 2 Wisconsin linebackers against IU's running game, because when IU goes over 200 yards, they're like 19-0 over 100 yards. They're 19-0 in Cignetti's tenure, and it makes the offense so much better. It moves faster. You get into advantageous downs and distances, and you're just much more efficient. And I think they have the running backs to do it. We'll see if the offensive line is healthy enough and if they could block up these freshman linebackers and defensive lines. Good question, David. And then I put as our keys to victory, or, IU will raise the victory flag if, and if it's not still raised from the, the last few times. Again, run the ball effectively. It doesn't mean you have to run for 300 yards or 400 yards or whatever, but you need to be able to get into that 2nd and 5, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, and then capitalize from there. They did a good job of that early against Penn State on 1st down, and then all of a sudden IU's punting. So they didn't do great on 2nd and 3rd down, running the ball. And then, control the true freshman linebackers for Wisconsin, put them into situations where they have to think and, make them look like freshmen. So put Wisconsin out of their misery when you can. This is where I think IU failed at Penn State. They had it, and Sig had brought it up multiple times, but when they settled for that field goal after the Fisher interception, it kind of kept Penn State within striking distance. Whereas as a touchdown there, you go up 24-7. People are already mumbling and grumbling at halftime. Basically, the old, hey, if they score a touchdown on this drive, let's get out of here and go to the parking lot and hang out. So that'll be key. I think you could make Wisconsin tap out and then be efficient scoring. If they're going to limit possessions, IU's got to score on possessions efficiently. So if you get across the 40, you got to score points and preferably touchdowns. What are the odds Fernando comes back next season, in your opinion? 0. It's 0 unless he gets hurt or something. So he's going to be a top 10 pick, or the worst, a 1st round pick, and he could very well be the number 1 pick. There's just not much more he could do in college. I know IU has, a good NIL package, but you're not going to pass up being a top 10 or 1st round pick to come back to college. Now, if you were talking about him as a 2nd or 3rd round pick, yeah, there's a shot he comes back, but yeah, no shot. David C. Did Baldwin play at Penn State? He did. He played 6 snaps on special teams. So he can sit 1 game. And I stood corrected because somebody gave me new information. I didn't realize the rule changed that postseason games don't count for a red shirt. So, if he doesn't play against Wisconsin, which might be the game because you do have all your roster available. But look, you're chasing a national title, and while the plan wasn't to redshirt Baldwin at the start of the year, he was in line to start, or at the very least start the season as the number 2 safety behind Bryce Bonds. And so they weren't planning on redshirting him. So it's not like the plan really is deviated. You could get a bonus 5th year out of it, but he might be good enough to where he's not sticking around for 4 or 5 years. He might be a 3 or 4 year guy. And you're chasing a national championship, and he could help. And if you have an ace on special teams like that who could go down in coverage, make tackles, and be that guy, you got it. It's a once in a, right now it's a once in a lifetime thing is to be in the driver's seat for a national title. So to get an extra year in 2029, we'll see. But maybe they do it. Maybe they had a conversation with Baldwin, like, hey, this is on the table. Do you want to do it? We'll see. But yeah, he played 6 snaps against Penn State. He was on the participation report. He was on the PFF snap count. So that is something we're keeping an eye on. We'll see if he plays against Purdue and Wisconsin. My guess, with the roster limitations as you travel in conference on the road, that, you can't just plug a guy in there that you're going to bring a guy on the road that's going to play and help you and not just be a kickoff guy. So if he's on the travel roster, you might as well play him. Otherwise, there's no point in putting him on the travel roster. All right, keep the questions coming. We should be joined by Alex shortly if he's done with his home goods shopping spree. Oh, another under talked about thing. Wisconsin is a common opponent of Alabama as well. We know about Ohio State, and they played Iowa too, who might be in the mix for a college football playoff spot. But rarely does IU and Alabama get a common opponent these days, and they have one. Alabama won at home 38-14 early in the season. Danny O'Neal did play that game. So this could be a data point that the committee looks at to keep IU above or Alabama above. Should IU drop a game or lose in the Big Ten title game? So it's you hate playing that. Well, they beat, because Ohio State fans did that last week. Well, we beat Penn State by this much, and you only beat Penn State by that much. But it is something that's under talked about, and kind of, you could kind of compare. Now it's 2 months into the season, and they're kind of different teams. But it's definitely, hey, we beat Wisconsin by this much. Alabama only beat them by this much. I hate the term frauds for college football. They're 8-1. I mean, is any team that loses any game a fraud in any sport? I mean, a good team, you're talking about 18 to 21-year-old kids. They're going to have a bad game. It was the opener. On the road, openers are tricky. Indiana only beat ODU 24-17 or 27-14. And stuff like that. So they kind of get the benefit of the doubt. Should it be held against them more? Yeah, but they're not fraudulent. That's any, I wish that word wouldn't come up in sports. We're not a fraud either. We weren't a fraud last year. You ran up against a better team. The sports have become so, we have to win every single game. You have to finish first, or else you're a complete loser and a fraud. And that's just not true. I'm not saying give everybody a trophy and be a participation trophy guy, but it's like you lose. That one team has to lose in sports, and you're basing it off of the performance of kids who are 18 to 21 years old, who might not bring their A game every single game. We saw it against Penn State. We saw Indiana against ODU. We saw them, for the first 10 minutes against Maryland. They didn't bring their A game. It happens. It doesn't mean you're a fraud. Let them call us frauds, whatever they want. That's just, I hate that term in sports. Oh, they're a fraudulent team because they lost to Ohio State and Notre Dame, or Alabama dropped in. Did they deserve to get dinged for it? Yeah, but they're still a very good football team, not a fraud. Everything's so black and white these days. It's either you're good or you suck. There's no in between to some people, and I hate that hot take stuff. You can make me bleep out words on YouTube, but it's like, oh, they're a fraud. They only beat Penn State by 3 points. Well, yeah, Penn State had a ton of talent. I hate it. Good point about the red shirt. This is a great chance to get some big reps going into the postseason. Who cares about 2029? And we say that now. Yeah, it's tomorrow's problems today. It's don't worry about 2029. We'll see. The whole sport could look totally different by 2029. There could be no Big Ten. There could be a Super Big Ten. There could be whatever private equity deal that's coming through. So Is this the last game for the IU press box? God, I hope so. I haven't heard anything official. I have heard rumors that that's the next thing on the list, but we've heard that, we've heard that for a long time. That stuff was next on the list, and it's been years. So, they sent out that fan survey in 2022, 2021. It's a while ago, and you've seen slow increments and all that stuff. It's got to be done. And I know most of our followers will say, well, you're in the press box. Why are you complaining about it anyway? Here's the deal. You have the slowest, although Penn State's backup elevator might be in the running. You can't say running for slowest, but they might be in the walking race for slowest elevator in the Big Ten or even in the country. But, it's how you're presented to, one, the national media, and two, the functionality of it. It's a good layout. It's fine and stuff like that. But you had water leaking out of the ceilings. The air conditioning or the heat doesn't work. Now, I don't care about that because we have the window open in the radio booth. But like every game, every other half, the internet stops working. Or, it takes 20 minutes to get down to post game. And you have to fight the crowds to go down the stairs. And I know I sound like I'm whining, but it's you go to all these other press boxes, and even the temporary ones at Penn State and Northwestern the last couple of years, they're just better. They just have better amenities. They have, working toilets and all those things. And then, of course, you have, the press box is not just going to be for the press. You're going to put suites and coaches' boxes and TV stuff and all that stuff in there. So there's a lot that goes into it. And the press box is just a small part of it. We went to Oregon. It's open air press box, which was very cool. But we sat next to Scott Dolson's suite, and you could see into it and see that. And, they had big donors in there, and it makes a difference. It makes a difference to them. We've been to some MAC road games, and they sometimes have better facilities. It needs to be done. I don't know when they're going to do it. I don't know how they're going to do it. But my experience with construction projects is it takes longer and costs more than they quote. So we'll see. There's some cool things that in my mind that they could do at Memorial Stadium. Is one of them building a new stadium? Maybe. But you spent a ton of money closing the end zones. That looks good. You can retrofit other seats into the south end zone, kind of like Wisconsin did in one of their end zones, the end zone opposite of the student section, with like standing seating. Purdue does it too, but getting more premium seating, getting more seats in there, and then also you got to reward the fans who've been there. Things are going to start costing more because it costs more to put a winner out there. IU's in good shape with NIL. They're in good shape with money. And we'll see what this private equity deal. Don't even ask about that because I'm not smart enough to talk about it. But it seems like it's going to come in and all that stuff. And there's rumors that Michigan and USC will leave the Big Ten, which is, I'll believe it when I see it. So there could be a big infusion of cash, and just getting not attendance, but capacity up to around 60. And look, they've made IU football an event. Tickets on SeatGeek and StubHub are going for twice or three times the amount that people paid for them, to where, the best deal is probably to get season tickets. And people love going to events. It has become a hot ticket for Indiana football. So make it enjoyable. You got to strike when the iron's hot, and that's how you build your your war chest is, hey, let's build some luxury seats that normal fans could use too. Doesn't have to be super duper rich donors and all that stuff, but give them access to a club and have some different seating views and all that stuff. So yeah, but I don't. We'll see. I I wouldn't put money on it's the last game. I would be very happy if it's the last game, but I don't think it is. It might be. But there's a ton of cool stuff. So keep the questions coming. We could get into CFP stuff. We'll get into Wisconsin, talk about the rest of the season, and all of those things. So we'll be joined. Alex should be joining us here in the next 5 minutes. And some great questions so far. Recruiting. Big, huge recruiting weekend this weekend. The list is up on our site. I could put the link in here for you guys if you haven't seen it. But you got a couple 5 stars, not in the 2026 class, but the 2027 and I believe the 2028 class. Yeah, 2028 class of Jaden Bell coming in as well. Just a huge, huge opportunity for IU to make an impression on these guys and things like that. So, one of the big questions we always get in the forum is like, how do you form relationships when you have whatever 50 to 100 people there? And look, I'm a former teacher, and I get I joked with people like you get PTSD about going on a field trip with 8,000 kindergartners. It's kind of like herding cats, but they have a method to their madness. The players know that, what to expect and things like that. It's not an official visit. They know that they're coming in for the game. Staff is going to take heights and weights and, body types and all that stuff just to make sure that your 247 profile is accurate and things like that. So you're not listed 6'4" and 250 pounds, but you're really 5'11" and 180 pounds. So it's then they'll bring people in for meetings with coaches after the game and stuff like that. So it's just more eyes on Indiana football, the better. From Scott again, do you think Alberto will start next year or hit the portal for a starter again? And this has been a group text banger, Alex. It's, to me, this is where not having the spring portal stinks. Because you could go into spring practice and say, hey, Alberto, we're giving you the keys to the car, and then reevaluate. But I do think you go into the portal season, they're going to get a portal quarterback. You just have to. You're losing two veteran scholarship quarterbacks, so you got to bring at least one in. So whether or not it's and the argument here is, do you go get a stud or do you go bring in somebody? You go bring in somebody else. A good MAC player, but we'll see how his talents translates. But with this staff, I trust who they pick at quarterback. So if they think it's a G5 All-Star who needs to come in above like a Carson Beck or that type of guy who's the number one quarterback in the portal, we'll see. So we had Alex, we lost Alex. And then I think my wife left her phone in here. Yes, she did. So we'll go throw it at her. All right, Alex, can you hear me? Yeah, so they'll go get a portal quarterback. I just, yeah, it's tough without the spring portal window, the spring portal window to actually evaluate have.
What's going on?
There's some echo going on.
Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, different computer. So, how about that?
Yep, that's better. I can't hear myself talk, so that's better for
Probably
myself.
good. That's probably good for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, they've had enough of me talking for like 3 straight weeks by myself. I'm sure some people last week were rooting for me to get eaten by a bear, so
Yeah. Well,
that's all right. How you doing? How's
doing well.
goods and-
It's, haven't been on in 3 weeks or something. But that has not stopped the winning, which has been good. Doing well. Excited. Watch the guys tomorrow, as they have been obviously every week of the year. I'm sure you've talked Wisconsin a ton already. It's going to be the same thing for me that we've seen in a couple of these Big Ten games now. Like, I do think Wisconsin is going to really struggle to string first downs together and string positive plays together. They're going to have some, yes, but yeah, I think this is a game that Indiana is going to control. I think they're going to be flying around. They haven't played at home in a while, Sammy.
No. It has been a long time since they've played at home.
And I think they're going to be ready to do that. So the weather is going to be spectacular apparently tomorrow. So no excuses to not show up at 11:30 for the ceremony and stay the whole damn game. Number 2 ranked football team in the country. That's a 30-point favorite against Wisconsin, who 10 years ago scored 80 points in this stadium.
83, and not in this stadium up at Camp Randall.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. What was the other one though? The Bloomington.
The other one was 62-10.
Yeah. All right.
And hold on, let me get the record book because they said all sorts of rushing records. You know what? I don't even care. It was like Monty Ball and James White ran for like 8,000 yards.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
it was the year, I think it was 2012, where like it was a year we could have gone 5-7 and went to the Big Ten title game and went to the Rose Bowl, but that didn't happen.
Well, that's whatever. But yeah, this will be going for 3 in a row against Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that'd be nice. Oh, it's always good. But yeah, I mean, I think they'll play their freshmen a little bit. Danny O'Brien, the Cathedral kid, will play.
Is he healthy? He got hurt last week.
He's healthy-ish. Yeah, I mean, I thought he was always going to be their best option because they got him from San Diego State out of the portal, and my arch nemesis Billy Edwards out of the portal. I think everyone knows my thoughts on Billy Edwards. I did not think that was going to be a positive stopgap situation for them. So I always thought
hurt in the first half of the first game.
He did, and that is never what you want.
And we haven't seen him since.
Never what you want, but yeah, I think they're going to struggle to make explosive plays. Like they'll be fine. Like I don't think this is going to be a rollover game and all that stuff. Fickle has ditched the vest and the TEAM slogan apparently. After winning last week, he's gotten rid of the vest and the team slogan. So they could be back. Could be back based on that, but we'll see. But no, I think I sent a tweet in our chat earlier today. IU right now has the highest margin of victory in the country on an average per game basis by like 2.5 points. Yeah, by like 2.5 points or something. So yeah, I think they're gonna try.
Yeah, it's also the fans' this is possibly for a lot of fans the last chance to see them at home.
Right.
You know, it's if you accomplish the goals that everybody wants you to accomplish, you're not playing at home again. You're going to, you know, we'll see them in Pasadena if they win the Big Ten, and you'll see them either in Miami or in Arlington if they lose, or maybe even Atlanta. I think that's the other one. So it's, you know, fans will travel to those games as they should, and they'll travel up to the Big Ten title game as they should. But for most of the students, for a lot of the local fans who don't want to splurge on the bowl trips or the postseason trips, this is the last chance to see this team. And they've won, what are they, 10? They've won 21 games in 2 years. And I was going with my wife, we're talking about it. Like, our son, he won't remember it because he's 1.5. But in his short lifetime, they've won 21 football games. Over our 5 years as students at IU, they won 20.
I give Dev another kid. That's what I've deduced from this.
Why? This one's winning. We don't need anymore. We don't need to mix up the juju.
All right.
Maddox is winning right now.
That's true. The king, our young king.
So, yeah, it's he's winning. So, you know, and he's technically been around longer than Sig.
Yep. I'm split.
So where's his $11 million a year contract?
It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming. Yeah. I'm split screening the DePaul Northwestern basketball game right now. Caleb Banks just had a good drive and drew a foul. So I know we'll have some interested people about that one. But
hey, hoops is fun again. I know there's been, the fan base is kind of in a hole. If you have hoops questions, you could throw them in here too. But
I'm not.
We're not going to make it a regular thing. But
we will have plenty of these throughout the winter. We'll have plenty of these in the winter. Yeah.
But yeah, send in your football question. Send in who your favorite senior is. Out of the groups. And this is all another thing I want to talk about, Alex. Guys who we think could stay or could leave. You got Carter Smith, Omar Cooper, Amari Farrell, D'Angelo Pons. I mean, Mendoza's going to leave. That question was asked. I think there's a 0% chance he's going to stay.
And that's what we want. That him leaving and being a top 10 draft pick does so much good for the program and recruiting and transfer portal and all that stuff. Yes, I would love for him to come back. Alberto probably does not want him to come back. And I'm sure we've talked about that. I see a couple questions in there. But anyway, yeah, I think Fernando's long gone, and he should be, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and so you get Lee Beebe back, but this group with Aiden Fisher,
Surratt,
Kamara, have Pat Coogan is going to leave too. But like a guy like Carter Smith, who he's graded out well on PFF. He hasn't come out on a lot of mock drafts to where you're like, hey, IU, you can probably convince him to stay.
Maybe. Again, and now that the rules are changed where he can get feedback and then kind of decide, if he goes to the combine, Carter Smith, like he's going to test so well that I can't see him not leaving. But at the same time, if he's a third round pick, like I think he's going to be a day 2 guy, probably a third round pick. I think he comes back. Maybe he can be a second rounder, maybe a day 1 guy. Yeah, you could probably try, and $2 million.
You're not going to hurt your draft stock by coming back.
No, unless you get hurt. Like
even all that much, he's still a younger guy. It's not like Penix coming out at 25 or 26.
And $2 million to have another year in Bloomington, be probably ranked, to start the season. Like you could have worse situations. You could do worse than that. Farrell, I see him coming back. I think Pons is gone. My thing with Pons, his NFL value, I think, is going to be a nickel corner, which has become so valuable in the NFL now because they play different defenses with less linebackers and just more matchups and coverage. Pons is really good in the run game, and he's smaller, obviously. Not that has mattered a ton for Indiana. In the NFL, that will matter. I think his ultimate value in the NFL is like I'm a Bills guy. Like Taron Johnson, who went to Weber State, has become an $80 million nickelback in the NFL. I think that is kind of Pons' mold. So for people that don't watch the Bills or watch that much NFL, Taron Johnson has been an all-pro playing nickel. I think that is kind of Pons's comp, honestly. If I had to pick, but I think Pons will leave. I think Farrell will come back. I think Cooper will come back. And Smith is the toss-up for me. Benson's gone. Coogan's gone.
Zen is gone.
Zen, yeah, but I mean, yeah, he's gone. Sure, Lynch
Yeah,
will be.
We'll go through the whole roster and do a portal shopping needs.
Yeah,
over the bye week, but there were more guys coming back, like Tyreek Tucker. I forgot was just a redshirt junior.
Yeah,
and he has another year. But Hosea Wheeler is going to leave. Radcliffe, and
Landino
all those guys.
he'll be a true junior. Landino and Duque will be back. I mean, IU right now is sitting on these DNs that are true freshmen that they really like. I think, really like the St. Louis kid or the Missouri kid, and then
Tristan Abrams,
Abram from Missouri, and then the Warren Central guy. Who they flipped from Louisville. Who played Burris. I think he played a couple games this year in mop-up duty. But that was a guy everybody wanted in the Midwest, especially. I mean, you got two guys. Yeah, I mean, Jones will be back. Hardy will be back.
Linebacker, you're probably going to need some linebacker help in the portal.
You'll need some depth. I think those are your starters. Yeah.
Well, they play so well with the three linebackers.
Yeah.
Now, that could just be because it's Aiden Fisher, Isaiah Jones, and Elisha Hardy. But, you lose. Caden Turner could come back. I believe. Yeah, Caden Turner, because him and Isaiah Jones are the same class. Caden Turner will be back. Is PJ Nelson ready to step into a role?
I mean, if they sign Williams, the Ohio guy who Ohio State's trying to flip really bad, watch that guy on film. Holy crap. Jaden Williams. I think he's from Massillon, Ohio.
I don't think they play. I don't think they play the true freshmen as much.
You're not going to get on the field if you're a true freshman. It's going to be really tough. Really tough. Unless you're Monshun Sales or somebody else like that, it's going to be really tough to get on the field.
Well,
which is good.
I mean, that's why they wanted Baldwin. Baldwin is a stud. He just happened to get hurt.
Yeah, that was a unique one. I think they would have played him, but yeah. How many games? Has he played 4 games already?
No, he's played 3. So he could somebody brought this up, and they said I made a good point on it. So I'm going to have to rewind and go back to it. But, you're hunting a national title. He played 6 snaps at Penn State. Now, does he play against Wisconsin on kickoff when you have your full, roster there, not just the travel roster? Right. Really, if he's there for 2029, something probably went wrong in his development. Right. I don't think he'd be a 4 or 5 year guy. I think he's a 3 or 4 year guy. So, again, if I was the coach, I'd have the conversation. Hey, this is now an option, because the plan was never to redshirt him. He was in line. He was in line to at least be in the 2 deep, if not start at safety. Yep. So, it's not like you're deviating off the plan of redshirting him in an emergency. You thought he was ready. You thought he was ready to contribute in a big way on defense. And I don't want to say he got lucky because he got injured, but you were handed a gift of a potential 5th year. So maybe have that conversation with him and say, listen, we love you. We're going to need you for the playoff run. But, man, if we cannot use you for one of these final 2 games and kind of secure that 5th year, it'd be a bonus. Now, he could do whatever he wants. But, yeah, it's kind of having something in your back pocket that you didn't think you'd have at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
But if he's playing for IU in 2029, either the NIL has gone out of this world or something went wrong in his development. believe it's 2029.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
Good problem to have. Sammy, I know you've been all over this, and I don't know what I'm scrolling through the comments now, obviously catching up. You've been all over this week, but I mean, you want to talk about a recruiting list tomorrow?
Oh
man. I mean, there are, I think, almost 100 guys. Obviously,
no, there are over 100 guys.
So when you have 100, not all of them are recruitable or IU offers and all this stuff. It's a lot of teammates of guys and blah, blah, blah. But still, I mean,
there are 113 guys on that list. And all I have to say is, thank goodness I know how to use ChatGPT. I would still be hammering the list out, but I got it out this morning. Obviously, I'm not going to give a note on every one of the 100 guys because like half of them don't have 247 profiles yet and all that stuff. But a monster, absolutely monster recruiting list. You have 7 guys who are committed coming, and they've been to a couple games, and they're like your normal, whatever, the usual suspects. You've got
Ogilvy's back again, though.
Yeah, Ogilvy's back. That's one to watch. Mason McDermott is another one to watch.
McDermott, I think, is their like top tackle guy.
Yeah. So Monson Sales, he's going to be a guy who's going to go through the process.
He'll be, at the end, but you got to be at the end. On campus, you take him anytime. Yep.
Yeah. So, and I don't think it hurt that it was Omar Cooper who made that play last week. And you've got Davion Chandler on campus as well. And, Donovan McCulley had success. Like, there's been a nice recent history of receivers coming from LN that, I think Patrick Malloy, who's the head coach there, has done a really, really good job. You had McCulley, Omar Cooper. We'll see what Davion Chandler becomes, but he was a highly ranked guy too. To kind of say, hey, you could go down the road to IU, play in the Big Ten, and accomplish every single one of your goals.
Yeah,
like there is nothing you can't accomplish at IU that you can accomplish at Alabama or wherever. If you want to, if IU gets beat out by like Ohio State or whatever, it's not because of NIL, because IU will be competitive in it. It'll be, it'll just be because the kid liked the school more, or like whatever. But IU has a real shot here to make an impression, and you got him on campus twice.
Yep.
And he's only a 2027 kid. So the more eyes, and this to me is what game day, like nobody's going to commit on a game day visit, I don't think. And it's more of just getting to know each other. It's like a coffee date.
Yeah.
So the more times you could get sales down, was it Keyshawn Bowman's another 5-star receiver.
Yeah.
He's from Tennessee, from Brentwood Academy, who they've had a couple guys. David C has a good question because I've actually asked this question to myself.
I think he's
others.
I think he was a redshirt senior. Yeah.
But here's the thing. We'll get back to the recruiting list in a second. With Kellen Wyatt, he's played in game 6 that he got hurt in against Michigan State. Yeah, right. Michigan State was game 6.
It was after Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon was to go 5-0, I think. So it was game 6 was Michigan State. I know the postseason games don't count toward a redshirt year, but could you put in a medical waiver saying, hey, if you play 15 or 16 games, say, hey, he would have, if you extrapolate the whole season, he would have played that, whatever, 1/3 of the season there. But I do think it's a total long shot. I don't think it's even realistic. But yeah, the game, in order to get the medical red shirt, he would have to play 4 games, at least in the regular season. Now, postseason games count. Could there be a way that you'd file something and get it? Maybe.
Get the Lou Moore attorney back on the case here.
Yeah, keep him on retainer.
Yeah, keep him on retainer.
Does he
I
get a
don't know.
playoff ring if they win it all? Absolutely,
Sure.
right?
Why not? Sure. I'm in.
So
I'm
back to the
giving rings
recruiting
to everybody.
list.
I'm giving rings to you. Yeah.
Yeah, back to the recruiting list. You go, even into the 28 and 29, it seems like they want to start those classes with a quarterback commit and build around that.
Yeah.
Now, they didn't really do that in 2025. They thought they would get, Juju Lewis. And then they got Cash Herrera in 2026, but he was kind of a late ad, and they built around the linebacker from Kentucky. His name escapes me. Jacob Savage.
Savage.
Great,
Who's
great
in the mix for
linebacker.
player of the year in Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an absolute stud. So, but it looked going down the list of visitors, there are a lot of quarterbacks on the list. Bryson, there's Ty Griffey out of Hamilton Southeastern. You got Bryce Jackson out of Michigan. I think Elijah Williams is a quarter. Like, they want to get that quarterback in to kind of form the class around that. And so we'll see. We'll see if kids start popping in 2027 soon. I do think you'll get keep your eyes on the site on Sunday. You should get some good news with LeVar Keys. He'll be a nice add to the class.
Yeah.
And then signing day, which used to be a huge deal, like a huge deal. Like, I'd take the day off of work to cover it because, back in the day I did, a full-time job and this, but now doing that. But it used to be like a huge thing. Now I had to look it up when it was, and it's December 3rd.
Yeah.
So it's coming up. There's no buzz about it. It's like right before conference championship games, but you could get a flurry of guys coming in for that IU class. It looks like they're looking for another safety.
Yeah.
They're looking for an offensive lineman. And then I do think this portal class will be larger, 20, maybe 25. Yeah. It depends on how many guys that I would
leave.
say that you didn't expect to leave, like you kind of expected, but they're officially like leaving. If I was highlighting them on a list, they would be in orange instead of red or green.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the receiver class in 2026, the two that they have right now, Walker Bryce,
he's a stud.
I think him and LeBron Bond will do 40-yard dashes next year to decide who's the fastest guy on the team. And then Cortez Rupert, I think would also be in that competition.
Another stud.
Like, fast as hell. They don't have what I would say, because Keys is also the speedy, shifty slot kind of guy. A Surratt kind of guy. So that might be a portal guy, more of a boundary receiver. If Cooper comes back, obviously kind of similar, different, but similar.
Sleeping on Charlie Becker.
I love Charlie Becker. He's been a guy when he committed out of Tennessee to Tom Allen, he had some of the best like contested ball tape that I've seen for definitely an IU guy. And I think we've seen that so far this season, especially Penn State. You saw that. But yeah, I mean, probably a couple boundary guys. You lose 2 tight ends. You lose your top 2 tight ends next year.
Oh, IU's roster page does not load on the website. It's not great.
That's okay. So many people are going to it. All the other teams, all the other coaches are going to it right now. So it's crashed.
Great. Soft. Oh, yeah. I mean, you got Miles Kendrick in there as well.
Yeah. Chandler. I like Chandler. Yeah. I mean, now you're starting to see the first like 2 rosters have just kind of been, we need to get guys in plug holes. I think now you're kind of starting to see the class stacking that they want.
Yeah, you'll still have
the D tackle. My favorite part about the 2026 class for IU is the D line. Cameron McEhaney, Gabe Hill, and who's the other interior guy? Rodney White. are three really good D tackles. Blake Smythe, in-state guy, is kind of like Landino, where I think he could play pass rush and on the inside. 24/7 is Cavante Hugan from Florida is the top commit right now, more of an edge guy. So that's my favorite part about the 26 class is the D-line. They also got Rennell Johnson, who's an edge from Missouri. Most places had him as like a high 4-star guy. So you got 5 like legit dudes on the D-line. And I mean, that's Pat Kuntz. That's Buda Williams. Like Kuntz on the trail kills it. Like just kills it. Even recruiting non-D linemen kills it.
Well, he's big in Indy. Like I think his recruiting area is Indianapolis, and because he's from there, he went to Cathedral, and he went to Notre Dame. So he's really, really got the connections in India, and he's just such a personable guy. Like he's fiery on the field. He's got a great personality. He's kind of a younger guy, so he can relate to dudes. And he carries some cachet with him on the recruiting trail. So, yeah, they've been killing it with the defensive linemen. It's going to be, I don't think, like under Kevin Wilson and Tom Allen, they had some good recruits come in, but they played them as true freshmen. And I don't think that's happening under Signetti to where it's in the media guide. It's get old, stay old. And we've heard it with basketball this is where the portal really helps plugging holes. We'll get out of here in about 10 minutes. So last call for questions. We'll get out of here by 9:45, get people to bed so they could get up and head down to Bloomington tomorrow. And I've enjoyed it.
What time are you leaving tomorrow, Sammy?
It's being debated right now. We're thinking I'm trying to get my crowd, which is just 3 people, to go to B-Town Boulevard tomorrow.
Right.
Whatever. Bring some walking around beverages, head to the walk, enjoy the live music over at B-Town Boulevard, and then go into the game. It's just, we have one guy who wants to tailgate, who thinks it's kind of a cop-out, but we're looking to leave it at 8.
Yeah.
And get down there probably 9:15-ish.
Yeah.
It's just such a hassle to bring the grill down and all that stuff for a noon game.
Hey,
we don't tailgate that often.
Last one. There's
last
Saturday
regular season one.
What I say?
No, we're going to tailgate, but it's whether or not it is so much nicer not to have to be responsible for stuff and go to the B-Town Boulevard tailgate and enjoy the atmosphere and the music and get a game day there and some food than it is to, for 3 people, schlep down the grill, charcoal, and some hot dogs.
In March, though, you're going to be like, man, I'd really, really love to be grilling something right now.
I have a grill.
No, you know what I mean, though. In the lot. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but that's all.
Yeah. So we'll play it by ear, but I think the game plan was to play. But yeah, I think that
you could do. Let me throw you could do a little breakfast grill. Do some tinfoil and like some sausage and bacon.
No, that means I have to go to the grocery store. That's like we're doing too much. I had 113 dudes to get through last night.
Well,
so we became Chat GPT experts last night.
They would probably like a breakfast sandwich.
I'm
not
a breakfast sandwich guy.
I get both sides.
I never have been. I like a good bagel in the morning, and I can get that at the store.
Drink like 7 beers, and then you eat, and then you get a couple more, and then you go walk around.
Yeah. My thing is, part of it's also to plug the site. I have friends who tailgate all over at different tailgates, like Coach Consoni. We've got some family friends who are over in the donor lot. would like to see them. And I also haven't been to B-Town Boulevard this year.
Yeah, it's fun. It's good. I like going. Yep.
So we need to gas that up so I could win this argument. Or he needs to come over and pack my car for me.
All right.
But yeah, it's just being lazy. All right, last call for questions. Going once. We'll give him another minute. Going twice.
I'll take a question, Sammy. You got one?
Yeah, somebody asked, is this the last year of the IU press box? What facility upgrades? And I've seen the Mellencamp looks totally different. They totally the outside kind of looks the same, but the inside looks phenomenal. There's no buzzing lights.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to spend their cash on. I'd rather spend cash on players and coaches than the outside of Mellencamp right now.
Yep.
But what facility upgrades do you foresee coming in the offseason?
I don't know. I mean,
press box has to happen. It just has to.
Sure. I get it. I don't care at all as someone that doesn't have to be up there. I think it looks cool from the photos. I would say they need to spend a lot of money on the bones of the stadium. So I'm talking concessions, restrooms, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that
too.
Need to really update vinyls and paint and wraps, and I'd love to see those All-American banners come back, but not be pink. I'd love to see college football playoff stuff instead of that one plaque that they have on the south side.
It's kind of hidden.
Right, it is. But why are we not loud and proud, especially if we make it this year, that we've made the playoff two years in a row? We should have flags up or banners or something. And I get that doesn't mean shit if you don't win anything, but still, I mean, yeah, you should put up banners that you made the playoff 2 years in a row. Those would be my two. The new field is gorgeous. My number one facility upgrade.
Yeah, you had your chance to ask the AD this and you missed it.
I asked him.
We're not talking about the scoreboard gap.
The gap in the scoreboard is the worst thing in America. Is the flag going to be working tomorrow?
I don't know. I think that's another thing that they need to move. That's a cheap thing. One, it blocks seats. It blocks views. So
that's our thing.
Great.
That's our thing.
So move it to the roof.
Now you can't because that's where the gap in the scoreboard is. There's nowhere to.
No, not in the gap. I mean, sure, you could cover the gap with the flag.
It's integral to the structure of the rock. Is the gap in the scoreboard?
No, there's those empty spots on the southeast and southwest sides that you could just stick the flagpole up there. And if it's not working, just chop it down. Seat backs could use an update too for next year. Yeah, especially if you're charging $10 to $15 for it.
Yeah,
I think the ones on the east side and those sweet seats are, when we saw them in fall camp, they look much better. They kind of looked like
that's the club or whatever, inside club or whatever they called it.
Yeah, but they have the mesh back seat backs, and they just look more comfortable than the. I don't know. They look like lunchbox stuff.
I mean, yeah, you could legit take out some of the bleacher seats and put in actual seat back plastic seats. A lot of stadiums do that. The defined sections where you get a back.
Yeah. So this will be the last point of the night. To me, you can probably you could build stands down from the suites on the south side, the little rim above the window, and build them down and put those as bar seats.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I think Wisconsin does it.
It's like a baseball kind of vibe, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And, instead of having those temporary suites, you could put it in there, give them access to the club on that side anyway. I think hand railings need to go in as well. Yeah. There's a lot of – that's a thing too. The bones of the stadium need to be fixed if Memorial Stadium is the long-term fix for IU football. So unless you're building a new stadium, you got to put the money into, getting the pipes fixed, because the goal is you kind of want to host a game mid to late December. So you got to make sure that the stadium's able to do that. And then, bathrooms, concession stands, advertising, banners, all that stuff.
Yep.
That should be the bare minimum. I do think the press box needs to go, and you can maximize revenue from it as well, and make it look good. You could even put it on the east side of the stadium. You're allowed to do that, even though the sun goes from east to west. There's ways to do it. So we'll see. But right now, Indiana is 10-0, looking to go 11-0. The number 2 team in the country. You have a chance to get a data point against a team who played the number 1 team in the country and lost 34-0. Who has played, what's Alabama, number 5?
4.
6? 4, the number 4 team in the country on the road and lost 38-14. So it is a dumb comparison to compare all those 3 data points, but people do it.
They will.
And you have a chance to be in there. So kickoff is at noon. Last BTN game of the year. Indiana has played their minimum number of BTN games this year. So
pretty
good
sweet
on that.
Yep.
So good on that. And noon kickoff, 11:30 is senior day festivities. Be in there, give this team the ovation and these guys the ovation that they deserve, because they've brought you 21 wins over the last 2 years, which is historical. Like people, I think, are taking a little bit for granted that this is going to happen all the time.
With 2 games to play, regular season games. Yeah.
So it is, enjoy it, take it in, root for this team, stick around because it is probably the last home game of the year for these guys, and then enjoy the bye week, enjoy Thanksgiving, and go up to West Lafayette. Hopefully the forecast changes from 46 degrees and sleet to something less miserable.
Too far out.
Well, it's the 7th circle of hell, so it's going to be the worst conditions.
Yeah, it's always going to be bad.
But it's you get there and then see where the chips fall in the postseason. Hopefully you get a bye. You could win the Big Ten, get a bye, and make a run at a title.
Yep.
All right. Good night. Keep coming back to HoosierHuddle.com. We will have a special surprise around December 1st, guys. So keep coming. I've seen some things and refurbishments that look pretty sweet. So keep coming back. Subscribe on X at Hoosier_Huddle. Subscribe on YouTube as well. Thanks for joining us again.